Hello internets, this is BoneCarlos coming to you live from the Shattered Temple to bring you another StarCraft 2 cast. Today we're going to be looking at a PvP, and it's going to be MindXplosion spawning in about the 12:45, 1 o'clock position. He's going to go going up against Excuses, a red Protoss in about the 3 o'clock position. And he's going up against a Master's Toss apparently, so good for him. He's either, I believe he's Diamond, so he's on the cusp of being promoted, or the fact that he's spawning is green. This is some sort of private match or a player match or of something of that nature, because usually if the opponent spawns red, you spawn blue. So who knows, maybe I may be wrong. They might have added those colors to the ladder, or I just don't know what I'm talking about. So these seems like PvP is some e-trick like Korean 4-gate Zealot warp and crap, and yeah, well, I tend to disagree. I mean, I know whenever you get cheesed like that, or if a 4-gate, they stick out more in your mind, they stick more into your mind rather if it's just a straight up macro normal game type. But as I was saying, these are close spawn positions by air, so hopefully we see some warp prism harass. Wink wink. I didn't get any kind of notes on this replay from the submitter, so yeah, hopefully we see some warp prism harass, maybe some immortal drops. Those are always fun, and that's generally what I like to do. I love it is using chrono and the right stuff, exactly. And what I like to do in a PvP, I actually like to go a little bit defensive, especially if I know my opponent is 4-gating. I just put down that one single sentry with a couple of stalkers while I get a one gate robo right off the bat to have that early warp prism and start chronoing out those immortals. Still already know it's coming. So good for you, MindXplosion. We actually have, it looks like Excuses spawn, scattered in the wrong direction. Spawn across map, didn't spawn close by ground. So more than likely this is some sort of online play or whatnot. You already see MindXplosion's already putting down a second assimilator, so more than likely going to go a higher tech play, while Excuses only has a single one in his base. Looks like a cybernetic score is a bit faster for MindXplosion, while Excuses ramps up and takes a second, and MindXplosion manages to save that probe, takes 3 probes off of the mineral line for Excuses. So that's generally a great tactic to use. Just pull off a probe or two, or a worker or two off of your opponent, just to get that little bit ahead of your opponent. Warp gate technology goes down exactly as soon as the cybernetic core finishes up, and we actually see he's chroning out a stalker. And ooh, very interesting, chronoing out the stalker, chronoing out that the researcher in that warp gate, and the second gateway is already down. Unfortunately, Excuses does see it, and he's putting down his stalker of his own. And I mean, they are close position by ground, but it's still a bit of a distance to travel. And oh, it looks like this probe is gonna go down. The second gateway is put down for Excuses, so pretty much the same exact build on both players. The only difference is that the stalkers are being chronoed out instead of the warp gate for MindXplosion, and right now it looks like pretty much it's exactly the same. The food count is pretty close to even, with MindXplosion just has that extra 2 food because of this stalker, and the window of opportunity for MindXplosion to push forward and attack is rapidly closing. I mean, he has 1 stalker here, 1 stalker here, while his opponent really has 2 stalkers as well. So that's just why I don't like chronoing out the attacking units against another Protoss. I mean, against a Terran, I would love doing it. I'll send down 2 stalkers and a Zealot and just really do as much damage as possible to his Marines or his workers or his buildings. But right now, those chrono boosts for MindXplosion were pretty much wasted. A robotics facility is going down for him, while warp gate is already done, so the window has closed for MindXplosion. Because warp gate is pretty much done on his side. It's still got a little bit of time left, and ooh, a Zealot is put in the wrong spot, and way to tell your opponent something that he doesn't really need to know. Then again, it could be mind games, and a mortal is already being pushed out by MindXplosion, so good job for him putting Excuses on the defensive by chronoing out those couple of stalkers and letting your opponent see that, and then going straight for the warp gate harass, straight for the Colossus tech, the 1-base Colossus tech. Excuses doesn't know exactly what's coming yet, since he doesn't have his robotics facility of his own. He's way behind on that. He's not going to have He's not going to have a probe to be able to scout that, and these two stalkers better run away because they are going to shield guard down. One more volley will finish it off, and it does. A stalker does go down. There is a couple of zealots and a single sentry here for defense, so MindXplosion, it will be able to hold this fairly easily. There wasn't a 4K by either player, but with this Immortal, I don't think this is the right idea to push out. I mean, these Immortal could still get focused down quite easily, but instead he decides to pull back, minimize damages on his own army and on his own forces. A little bit of a supply blockage from MindXplosion, but the pylon is finished up. Gravitic Drive is being researched immediately by MindXplosion, so it's going to be a little bit of a tricky play. Hold down a couple of Immortals here at the front. So this is pretty much exactly the type of build that I like to do. He pulled out an extra gateway before that robotics facility, but the Observer is already on the field for for excuses, so this attack is going to be pretty null. A little bit of a misclick by MindXplosion, pushes a little bit forward, and he wants to be careful. He doesn't want to lose any units just yet. A little bit of a whip force field here doesn't really block anything of anything. MindXplosion wants to get down an Observer down ASAP to be able to get rid of this one that's on the field of play for excuses. A little bit of he's up against the wall just a little bit, while two Immortals are on the field of play, and the Stalkers just push forward for excuses. It looks like the Sentry does put down another force to try to block off a couple of Stalkers, but no, they are repelled by these two Immortals, and excuses decides to poke around MindXplosion's base to see exactly what's going on. He already sees the robotics bay down and decides to pull back. He doesn't want any sort of tricky Colossus play just yet, and at the same time he already has the Colossus tech of his own, so three warp gates for excuses, 3 for MindXplosion, and the exact same tech for both players. On the other hand, we see excuses putting down the extended thermal lance, while MindXplosion is going to go ahead and do the warp plate drop. I'm not sure how effective it's going to be since Excuses is pinned back on his own base, but at the same time MindXplosion looks like he wants to take his natural. I mean, why not do so at the moment? Excuses is chronoing out those Colossus and the extended thermal lance, but here we go. This is the drop that's coming, a double Immortal drop, and the Immortal can actually do a lot of damage to buildings, and he's going to drop them right next to the robotics bay, going to attack those probes. They get pulled off the line immediately, and the attack has begun on the robotics. Already the shields are gone, and the Stalkers are finally on the field of play, but it looks like they're going to take out the robotics bay. And ooh, nice save there. Takes the high ground. There is no vision for excuses. He's not able to take down that warp prism, and it looks like the lol. Ooh, MindXplosion, you never want to laugh that early in the game, especially after just one single drop. You never know what's going to happen later on. He did stop mining for a while, but at the same time, you do have your own Colossus on the field of play, but no expansion just yet, while at the same time Excuses is putting down an expansion of his own. We see the warp prism play is gonna go down. He pushes forward into a bunch of Stalkers, and ooh, needs to be forced to pull back. You don't want to lose those two Immortals. Those are very near and dear to your army right now. There is a second Colossus is going to be put down, while Excuses only has one. So very interesting unit composition so far. We see one Immortal, 7 Zealots, and 7 Stalkers for Excuses, while in base MindXplosion we see those 2 Immortals and a single Colossus and 7 Stalkers. So right now we see more drops by MindXplosion, picks him up, heads home. So right now he's doing a great job of denying any kind of mining for right now. Excuses does have nice field of vision, and it looks like MindXplosion drops, decides to do a couple of attacks with his Immortals, picks them up, and decides to head straight back to the main of Excuses, but Excuses is prepared for that, has the Stalkers in position, and MindXplosion pulls back the Warp Prism, and right now he actually pushed forward and do quite a bit of damage. Looks like MindXplosion is trapped behind the Warping Zealots, decides to say, you know what, I don't want no part of this, head home, drops him again to try to focus down on this Colossi. It's not going to happen. He's pulled, picks it up yet again, and decides to head home. Actually did a ton of damage to that Colossus. There's only about 53 health left, and MindXplosion decides to finally put down his expansion, but Excuses already has his up and is about to start churning out those probes. So again, he wants to be very careful, and he actually manages to save both Immortals, so good job on MindXplosion by doing the maximum amount of damage to the Colossus while they taking 0 damage in return. And it looks like he's still poking around with his Immortal, deciding to just keep continuing that harass while Excuses is just in panic mode. Really, he does have his robotics be up and running again. He's turning out that second Colossi, but right now there's quite a nice little ball of units that MindXplosion has been able to conjure up. Both players are about even on the food supply, but in the income we see 7 harvesters plus 4 MindXplosion, giving him that greater income in resources. But right now it looks like there's going to be a nice little battle going on. I'm not sure if Extended Thermal Lance is done for this Colossi. It looks like it's not done yet for either players, but it's going to come down to whoever has the greater control. Guardian Shields are up, but this is just a lot of Zealots to be put down, and it's churning through these Stalkers. Again, the Colossi are being focused, but the second Colossi is on the field of blame. Excuses wants no part of it. His Colossi was put down by that warp, was taken down by that warp prism drop of those immortals, so we really had nothing going up against these 2 Colossi. And what a nice play by MindXplosion, doing that warp prism harass with those 2 immortals. It just goes to show you the power of those immortals. One of the more underused units, I feel, in the Protoss army. So that was it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed. If not, leave a comment down below on what I could do to make these more enjoyable for you. Also, if there's a replay of your own that you would like for me to do, leave a link to one of the major replay sites down in the comments below, and I'll be more than happy to take care of it for you guys. Other than that, I'm going to get on out of here.